Well, hello again and welcome to the Gospel in 3D. My name is Derek Van Ruler, and I'm here to equip and encourage you to live every day with gospel intentionality. I hope that you are growing in how to live for Jesus Christ each and every day. In the last couple of videos, we've begun to focus on the life together of the church. So often we come to church thinking about what we can get rather than how God has blessed us in order to give to others. And so we have begun to look at how we can engage and change that mentality, which ultimately stems from who we see ourselves as, or in other words, stems from our identity. And we have already noted that at the end of Jesus' earthly ministry, right before he returned to heaven, he commissioned his disciples to go and make other disciples and baptize them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And we've seen that to be baptized in the name of something means that we have this new identity. And today we're going to look at the idea that we are baptized in the name of Christ. And what does that mean? Well, if you look at Mark 10:45, Jesus states that he came to this earth for one purpose, to serve and give his life as a ransom for many. His sole purpose of leaving heaven above and enter into humanity was to serve so that we might come to know and trust in him and glorify his Father in heaven. Well, if Jesus came to serve and we are now his followers, shouldn't we serve others as well? You know, in Matthew 25:31-46, Jesus says just that. He tells us a story about the final judgment, about that future day in which all the nations will be gathered before him, and how people will be divided into two groups, those who spend eternity with him and those who will not. And a large portion of this will be based upon how people treated others. He states that those who fed and clothed and gave drink to those in need will spend an eternity in heaven with him. And those who ignored those in need will spend an eternity in hell. Wait a minute. I thought the good news of Jesus was based solely on what Jesus has done. That's true. But this good news should massively change us. Paul writes in Romans 5-6 that we either serve God or our sin. That if we are enslaved to our sin, then we do what our sin wants. But if we are released from slavery to sin, we are free to serve God. But, and get this, we will in fact serve God. We are not neutral beings who are freed from sin and yet don't serve God. Kind of in this middle portion. No, those who grasp what they've been rescued from are so excited that they begin to love and care for others and serve others. We join the family business, which is to give of ourselves and serve one another. That is what Jesus is getting after in Matthew 25:31-46. That if you see someone in need, true need, and give to them, you are doing so, hopefully. And if you are a follower of Christ, more than likely out of a love for God and a love for them. After all, that is the greatest commandment, to love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, and all of your mind, and to love your neighbor as yourself. To be a follower of Christ means that we are looking at and loving others as we ourselves would want to be loved and cared for. Paul shows us this in Philippians 2:1-11. He states that we are to consider others better than ourselves, and to do nothing from rivalry or conceit, and not look only to our own interests, but the interests of others as well. And the reason for that is because Christ did the same for us. He didn't consider his position with God something to be held tightly to, but willingly gave that up so that we might know and worship God. How much more so ought we to love and serve others? Church, your life is not your own. Your stuff is not your own. Your time is not your own. It is all the Lord's, to be used to serve others for his glory. Imagine the kind of church we would be if we began to live out this identity that we are called to serve like Christ served the church by giving ourselves for others to thrive, succeed, and know Jesus Christ. I'm convinced this kind of living would radically transform our communities, and we would see more and more people come to faith in Jesus Christ. And so, friends, I want to challenge you to begin thinking about how you might serve others and what prevents you from serving them. So when we look hard at our own heart, that we are able to be transformed and image Jesus better. And next time, we will look more in depth about how we might serve one another. Until next time, God bless.